Hello everyone, welcome to another video from iLearnEngineering. My name is Leslie. Today we're going to talk about storage versus memory inside a computer. And I'm sure you've heard before the term storage and the terms memory, and potentially you've heard people use them interchangeably, but unfortunately they're not the same thing, so we'll just talk about what they are and what each one is. Excuse me. So storage is what we call secondary memory, and memory is what we also call primary memory. So if you've heard people talk about primary memory versus secondary memory, that's what they're talking about. So the memory that is primary memory, it's what the CPU uses. And the CPU is the central processing unit. It's the brain of the computer, if you like, and it's what the computer uses to run all its different operations. I'll just write some stuff down for you guys. So primary memory is also known as memory, and it's the thing, if you open up your computer, so it depends if you're on a Windows machine or you're on a Mac or something like that, but you go into the kind of properties of the computer and it'll show you what what kind of memory you have. I think I can show you guys here. So you can see here I've got a MacBook, and here I've got 16 gig of memory on this machine. So a lot of modern computers now will have usually around 8 or 16. You'll still see some that will have 4. Used to be we only had 2. And that memory basically denotes how much the CPU can do. So that's used by the CPU to carry out all the tasks that the computer does. So it's like so right now I'm running software to have a whiteboard that you can see what's happening. I'm running software to record this video. I have a web browser open. I would have other bits and pieces of software open. So anything that you need to do on your computer, the CPU controls that, and it will use primary memory for that. Primary memory is fast, so it allows the CPU to do a lot of things at the same time. It's what we call volatile memory. So as soon as you close the computer down, you shut it down, that memory's wiped. So you'll sometimes get to that point if your computer's been doing a lot of things and you maybe haven't turned it off for quite a long time, if you're me, and it just starts to get itself confused, and people say, oh, turn it off and on again. When we turn it off, it wipes primary memory. It basically deletes everything that's in it. So any tasks that the CPU was holding on to that it didn't need anymore, they're wiped, they're deleted. So we can kind of start from fresh again, which is nice. Primary memory is also more expensive than secondary storage. So you see I've just shown you on my MacBook, I have 16 gig of memory. If we looked at my hard drive, I think it's a 512 gig that I have for storage. So you get a lot more hard disk space than you would memory, and that's because it's a lot more expensive. And memory is also, it's connected into the motherboard. Let me draw you a little picture. So if I select my pen, yep. So we will have a memory card, and on that memory card will be lots of different chips, and they will make up the different parts of the memory, and then that card is plugged into the motherboard on your laptop or your computer, or something like that, and then it's connected to the CPU via the different buses and the cables, which we'll talk about in other videos. So it's plugged directly into the motherboard. So that's primary memory. I'll just actually rub that out now. One thing you'll learn about me is drawing is not my It's not my forte. I'm a computer a computer person. I'm not a drawing person. I'll just delete that as well. So the next thing then we would want to talk about is secondary storage. And this would be your hard drive. And it's also just known as storage. It's your hard drive. It could be a DVD that you're burning things onto. It could be a USB stick. If you're as old as me, it would have been like floppy disks or something like that. Secondary storage is cheaper, as we've just mentioned, so we get a lot more of it on the computer. And it's where you store the programs that you have installed on your machine. If you're a gamer and you have some games installed, if you have Microsoft Office, or if you have, video editing software, or your web browsers, WhatsApp, any of those kind of things, they're all stored on your computer as programs. They're stored in the secondary storage, or secondary memory. It would also store any files that you've created. So if you're doing any, you're writing reports or homework or anything like that, they're all stored. Any photos you've had, any videos, anything like that. So it stores all of your files. So anything that we need to do our work or to play, it's stored in storage. And it would be slower. So the memory that we have on the computer is quite fast, and it allows the CPU to do lots of things at the same time and do them really quickly. If we were transferring things from storage to another area of storage, or from storage into memory to work on them, so a document or something, it would be slower, which is fine for our needs. But if that's what the computer used to carry out all its operations, it wouldn't be as good. So it's fine for our needs, but the memory has to be faster. And there are different types of hard drives and things like that we can get. We can get optical drives, we can get solid state drives, there's magnetic hard drives. We'll probably talk about that in another video. It's a lot for now. And it's not plugged directly into the motherboard. So in the way that I showed you, where memory has the memory card and it's plugged directly in, the hard drive wouldn't be. It's inside the computer, but it doesn't plug directly into the motherboard in the same way. Or obviously if it's a DVD or an external hard drive, it plugs in through USB port or something like that. And it's what we call non-volatile. So if you store something on your hard drive, unless something goes wrong, obviously it's there till you delete it. It's not something that disappears when the computer turns off. So that's the difference, the main difference between storage versus memory. And that's the highlights of storage and memory. Hopefully that's cleared the two of them up in your mind. I know they can be quite confusing for people, and they both store data, so we can see why it's confusing. But if you remember that memory, primary memory, or primary storage as we call it, is the fast. It's used for the CPU only, and it deletes when we close the computer down. And then storage, or secondary storage, as it's also referred to, that's the stuff we keep forever until we delete it. So that's the stuff we'll store our photos on, our files on, our programs. We get a lot more of it, and it's less expensive, which is why we get more. So thanks for tuning in to another video. Keep an eye out for all the ones we're going to have in the future. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.